Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are going to discuss another very interesting topic about Buddhism. Okay, so that's the topic is misunderstood Buddhism. Okay, let's see what that is. In when you look at most of these clips in YouTube or live sermons or many websites about Buddhisms or CDs or books, so all of these sermons or books or the context has been uh, elaborated according to this normal day to day the current meanings. So, but the thing is, in Buddha, when he was enlightened and he discovered this path to Nibbana, so anything came out of his mouth is leading people to attain this Nibbana. So what is Nibbana? Eradication of raga, eradication of dvesha, eradication of moha. It means eradication of desire, aversion, and delusion. So as followers, we have to go through exactly the way the Buddha was teaching us. So let's say, okay, now the main thing in Buddhism is Four Noble Truths. So the first thing is suffering. So in current Buddhism, in lots of books or the clips or videos, audios, whatever it is, so what they're talking about the suffering. They talk about suffering is suffering we feel when we lose something, when somebody hits us, when we lost like if somebody steals, somebody sexual misconduct, that sort of stuff we feel when that happened to us. So that is what suffering is, what they call it. But after Buddha's enlightenment, he said the Dhamma he understood, he discovered, has never been heard in his entire samsara. So he was in Siddhartha Bodhisattva before he was enlightened. So in one of his lives, when the Kashyapa Buddha was alive, so this our Bodhisattva was he born there at that time, and he was a monk, and he became a monk under Kashyapa Buddha. So then, when he was practicing his path under the guidance of Kashyapa Buddha. So the Kashyapa Buddha was also preaching people the same thing, because there's no two paths to attain Nibbana, just one path, which is eradication of raga, dvesha, moha. So Kashyapa Buddha was also preaching the same thing. So then our Bodhisattva was a monk at that time. He was listening to Kashyapa Buddha and practicing what the Kashyapa Buddha was talking about. But when this Bodhisattva was enlightened as a Gautama Buddha, then he said he has never understood this Dhamma before, never ever in this samsara. But he was a monk under Kashyapa Buddha, so we feel like this a conflicting ideas, right? Buddha didn't say lie. He doesn't say Buddhas they don't lie. So it means even though he was a monk under Kashyapa Buddha, so he didn't understand what he was talking. The Kashyapa Buddha was talking about. So this monk went to Kashyapa Buddha one day, and then he said, "Venerable sir, I have been practicing what you taught me exactly the way you told me. But why I can't attain these sainthoods, these Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami? Why I can't?" So Kashyapa Buddha said, "No, you can't. He was shocked and he asked why. Because then Kashyapa Buddha said, you are going to be the next Buddha. So Buddha is somebody who understands all of these things by himself. So he can't listen to somebody and get this understandable. So just imagine when in that time or any other time, in other life, so you reckon the Bodhisattva, when he lost somebody in one of his previous lives, so he didn't feel sad, you reckon he was very happy when he lost his mom? Or just think about this life, just go and if you're gonna ask somebody who's not a Buddhist, let's say a Catholic person, if you ask, hey, what do you feel about when you lose your mom? So do you think like he would say, I'm sorry, man, I have no idea, I don't know. So you reckon that will be his answer? No, of course he's gonna say, are you crazy, man? I don't want to lose my mom. It's gonna be. I will be very sad. So, what do you think if you wanna ask what's gonna happen if your son's gonna be sick? So then he will say, no, I don't like it. So I will be very sad. So that's what even these animals are crying when they lose their kids. The babies. So then it means this animal understood what suffering is. If the suffering Buddha was talking about this sort of suffering. So but Buddha said this noble eightfold path, or before this noble truth of suffering is only, if somebody understands this noble the noble truth of suffering, it should have been she should have listened to me, it means to Buddha, or somebody who listened to Buddha and he go through this chain. So let's say from Sariputta monk. So the venerable Sariputta, he listened to Buddha and then he understood. Then if somebody's gonna ask Sariputta Thero, then that's okay because he got that from Buddha. And likewise, it should go with the chain. So apart from that chain, there's no way anybody can understand this four noble truth. So how come a dog or monkey is gonna cry if something happens to its babies? So there is a problem, right? So it means this suffering that in this current society is talking about is not the suffering Buddha was talking about. Buddha was talking about some sort of wisdom. That's dukkha satya, means that's prajna, that's wisdom. It's not like the thing we feel when somebody is going to punch my face. That is understandable to anybody, even for animals. But this thing can be understood by the brain, with your thinking ability, with your wisdom. So that's why Buddha said, very little number of people understand this Dhamma. But when you lose your mom, you're going to be sad. That concept can be understood anybody in this world, even for animals. So that's something misunderstood. So we have to understand properly what did Buddha said. Is this available Buddhism? Is the right Buddhism Buddha was talking about? So is this thing leading you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha? And the other thing, this anapanas, this is a meditation. It says asasa pasasa. Yes, there is a meaning for breathe in and breathe out. That's breathe in means asvasa and breathe out means prasvasa. Yes, that's right. But was that this meditate, the breath concentration? Is that what Buddha was talking about? Okay, let's say you have been practicing that concentration on your breath for 20 years. Just tell me when you are going to eradicate your raga, dvesha, moha. There's no way. You may get concentration, you may get jhanas, or you may get some powers, or yes, that's true. But that is not Buddhism. That is not path to Nibbana. Path to Nibbana is eradication of raga, dvesha, moha. If you have been doing that breath meditation for 30 years or 50 years, let me know when you are going to eradicate your raga, dvesha, moha. There's no way. Okay, other thing, right mindfulness. How they're going to define now? They say when you chew something, chewing, lifting, cutting, walking, turning. Okay, you do that for 50 years. When you are going to eradicate your raga, dvesha, moha, your desire or your attachment, your willingness to satisfy your 6 senses, when you're going to do it? So, okay, 30 years you practice that. Now you know exactly when you turning left, chewing, swallowing, bathing. Okay, now you are concentrated on what you're doing. Buddha didn't tell us to get that concentration on what you are doing. That's not what Buddha was talking about. Buddha was talking about purifying our mind from raga, dvesha, moha. That's it. And the other thing, there are many things, samma vacha. So what is the currently available definition for samma vacha? Don't lie. So don't lie. And then what happens if somebody is not going to lie? So he's going to be reputed or well recognized in this society. And what does that help him to do that in his life? So probably he will be more proud about it, and then he will go get more status. But that leads to, it doesn't eradicate his raga, dvesha, moha. So do you think we need a Buddha to sacrifice all these billions of years, going through all these hardships to discover this anicca, dukkha, anatta, to just get the status or not to lie, not to blame, not to curse, flattery, double tongue, not to do this? So do we need a Buddha to tell us? Anybody can understand. Anybody in this civilized society, we know that we shouldn't tell lies. We shouldn't the double tongue or flattery, cursing, harsh words. They're really no good. They're not allowed in any country. This civilized, developed country, nobody, we can't go and blame anybody in this for no reason. So we don't want a Buddha to tell us. So any word came out of Buddha's mouth is leading us to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha. So it's not for the worldly concepts. We don't want Buddha to tell us. Being our civilized people, we understand that. We don't want Buddha to tell us not to steal, not to kill, not to do sexual misconducts. Those have really defined, the different definitions. We took this worldly definition, but what Buddha said was, he got these normal terminologies and he put these super mundane meanings in it. He said, don't lie. What is lie he was talking about? He said these things in the world is really not going to the way you want. So these things are really the things we attach to, have been developed or appearing because the reasons got together, and as soon as these reasons got apart, this thing we attach is gonna either changing or disappear. So that's the reality of this world. If you attach to that, you're going to be sad, you're going to get suffering. So if somebody is talking about it is not, that is the the worst lie ever. So that was the lying he was talking about. So okay, double tongue. Why we have to do that? We had to do that to get something out of, we have to satisfy our six senses. So Buddha was talking about don't do that, because there's no point of getting these things to get our six senses satisfied, because that is really illusion. So that is really, we expected something, so we got our the mentality unbalanced, so we are chasing that to get that balance. So why we love a pizza? Because we attach to that the taste of the pizza. So he says don't lie. Lie means if somebody says the pizza is awesome, beautiful, fantastic, tasty, delicious, those things are lying, because they are not. This happiness, or our eagerness to get this taste, is just an illusion. That pleasure is an illusion. We discuss in our clips how we get pleasure. We have to unbalance our situation, and this closing this gap is called pleasure. So if somebody talks to you, hey, that particular piece is really good, then as soon as you accept that, then you are in this the calm and quiet situation. So as soon as you heard that, then your mentality unbalanced. So you want that. So as soon till you get that taste into you, you are unbalanced. So let's say today 5 o'clock the pizza shop is going to be open. So now 3 o'clock. So you got another 2 hours to go. Now you are in unbalanced situation. So 5 o'clock you are going to that pizza shop. You order the pizza. You get the pizza. You taste it. Here it balances, and now you feel happy. So that's why, let's say you want to eat that pizza. Okay, so then you are very vexed, and you have that higher vexation. So okay, you go to the shop, and your friend give you one pizza, so you keep eating. Now you are very full, and he orders another one. He just keep feeding you. So what happens if that pizza gives you that happiness? As long as you keep eating that pizza, you should be very happy. But why up to some extent you are happy, and then after that you feel very uncomfortable, and then it becomes sad again? That's because as soon as this gap is closed, now you are not attached to that anymore. That closing this gap is called the pleasure. If somebody says it's not, that's lying. Why somebody is gonna go for the sexual misconduct? Because they think this sexual this feeling of this touching, this satisfying, this skin sensor is really good, but it's really not. So it's the same principle applies. So likewise, there are many things in Buddhism, the current society spreaded Buddhism. There are many things being misunderstood, and people have been practicing that very incorrectly. It's like if the city is in this way, we have been going to this way for last probably 1,000 years. So that's why we can't achieve these marga paras, means this the stages of Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami. So this, because we're going on the wrong path. So what we have to do is to understand what really Buddha's teaching. So one day Elder Prajapati Gautami Nan, she went to Buddha and she asked, Venerable Sir, nowadays there are monks, they are preaching the things you didn't say, and they say you said that. And although also they say some of the things you say, so you said, but they say you didn't say. So because of that reason, there is the big ambiguity or conflicting ideas among the people. So but because of the fact that you are alive, they can come and talk to you and get those the conflicting things rectified. But what will happen in the future generations? Now then you are not alive, so there is nobody to come and ask. Then what's going to happen? So then Buddha replies, don't worry about it. If somebody says something, if that is leading to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha, then that is Buddha's teaching. If somebody says something, if it is not helping you to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha, that is not Buddha's teaching. So that's a simple filter. So now that is valid to us as well in current society. So when we listen to any sermon, just concentrate whether this is leading us to eradicate raga, dvesha, moha. If it's not, it is not a Buddha's teaching. If it is, please go for it and keep listening. So there are many things misunderstood in this society. We will talk about that in coming clips. So hope you get an idea about these stuffs, and there was Sarnai.